Dear students, as we have already considered that how to define the variables in SPSS and how to enter the data. So now we would be discussing that once we have followed the procedure of sign test under SPSS in order to test that the median difference of the two related sample, whether it is equal to 0 or is that different from 0. So we have already learned that what is the procedure. So after following the procedure under SPSS, you would be getting an SPSS output with a particular test statistic. That means the p-value of the test statistic. So now we would be discussing that how to interpret the results that we have obtained under SPSS. So students, I am reading the problem so that we can interpret it later by following the p-value that we have obtained from SPSS. So I'm reading that problem with you. 12 sets of individual twins are given psychological test to determine whether the firstborn of the set tends to be more aggressive than the secondborn. Each twin is scored according to the aggressiveness level. A higher score indicates the greater aggressiveness. Do the data provide sufficient evidence to indicate that the firstborn of a set of twins is more aggressive than the second? And the data for the 12 pairs of twins are being given to us. Now first thing you need to do is to outline the procedure, and under that procedure you would have to consider the pair of hypothesis. So students, यहाँ पे देखिए हमें alternative hypothesis हमने पहले लिया है that the median difference is greater than 0. In other words, it was being given in the statement that the firstborn is considered to be more aggressive compared to the secondborn. So against that we have outlined the H0 of MD less than equal to 0 type, and you can also translate this pair of hypothesis as proportion of positives are more than proportion of negative, and the null hypothesis is that they are less than or equal to. Now the next step we need to consider is alpha, which is being taken as 0.05. The test statistic is sign test, and we would have to reject H0 if our p-value that we will obtain from SPSS would be less than alpha. Now, this is the particular output window interface of the SPSS. Here, the negative signs, negative references are being given as 7. The positives are being given as 4, where there was a tie with one of the pairs. So that is also being reported, and the total was 12. So obviously one of the pair would be discarded out of the total values of 12. Reason being that they were exactly identical. We can't consider them as being positive or negative. So the test statistic that is being followed under SPSS was exact test, and it was two-tailed, and the value was 0.549. Now students, as you've observed, that a pair of hypotheses under the alternative hypothesis we have a positive sign, whereas this p-value that is being given to us by the SPSS, it is two-tailed. So students, जब भी हमें two-tailed की p-value दी हो SPSS में, because SPSS does not facilitate us to the p-value, one-tailed p-value, it would also always provide us with the two-tailed p-value. So हमने क्या करना है, क्योंकि ये double है probability, that means two-tailed की है, so we would have to divide that two-tailed p-value by 2 in order to get the one-tailed p-value. So dividing it with 2, we got 0.2745. Now as you can see that 0.2745 is greater than our alpha, which is 0.05. So it does not fall in the critical region, because our critical region was that if our p-value will be less than 0.05, then we are going to reject our null hypothesis. But as you can observe that 0.2745 is not less than 0.05, it is very much greater. So we cannot reject H0. That means our sample has supported our null hypothesis, and we would be concluding that aggressiveness of firstborn twins is not significantly different or greater than the second-born twins.